In the dark passage, the green-maned Buddhist lion moved with incredible speed. In the blink of an eye, it had already exited the palace's underground tunnel, bringing the two of them into a dim underground space. The area was filled with a forest of white bones, and suffocating waves of evil energy surged everywhere. The scene before them was no different from hell. At the center of the evil prison, inside a cage made of 10 golden Buddhist pillars, a pale-skinned woman sat in meditation, her 4 divine senses void of any control. Countless evil glows hovered in the air, and a terrifying force that seemed to invade the mind rippled through the atmosphere. The evil energy present made Xiao Yan's scalp tingle with unease. "That person is the leader of this prison," the green-maned Buddhist lion said. "The Crimson King, the master of the pure heart, by Wushuang. There's a barrier formed by Buddhist scriptures here, so we don't have to worry about being detected. But I shouldn't stay for long. I must return." As soon as the words left its mouth, the green-maned Buddhist lion set the two down and immediately turned back the way it came. It couldn't linger for too long, or its overwhelming Buddhist power would disturb Bai Wushuang. "Second brother, why don't we use sacred flame to burn this place to the ground?" Below the palace of the Valley of Tribulation, there was a Buddhist pillar tunnel with a barrier separating them from the evil beings within the prison. For now, they hadn't been discovered, but breaking through the Buddhist scripture barrier would undoubtedly draw the attention of countless evil creatures. Although the evil energy here wasn't as dense as in the demon-suppressing prison, it was still formidable, especially with the pure heart master's presence. This kind of force was a natural counter to sacred flame, so Xiao Yan didn't dare to take the risk. Catch the thief first, capture the king. We must eliminate the evil leader here, and the rest will be easy to deal with. I'm also curious about why this guy has managed to render the green-maned Buddhist lion, at the second reincarnation stage, helpless. Things aren't as simple as they seem. I'll go out and test it. Stay here, and don't act rashly unless I give the order," Xiao Yan said, then crouched down and transformed into a shadow, slipping through the tunnel's barrier into the evil prison. The moment he left the Buddhist light barrier and entered the evil prison, a thick, nauseating stench of blood and decay filled the air, like a mountain of corpses exuding a rancid odor. "Someone's here. Welcome, little ones." Before Xiao Yan could get close to the 10 Buddhist pillars surrounding the prison, the evil woman, her divine senses void, suddenly smiled a crazed, twisted smile. This woman's perception was too sharp. Grr. Upon hearing her voice, Xiao Yan's scalp jolted as endless glass-colored flames erupted from his body, immediately engulfing the dark, evil tide that rushed toward him. Sacred flame? The evil woman stammered as she saw Xiao Yan's actions. At that moment, a massive glass-colored sun and a white light sphere collided fiercely, sending out a terrifying shockwave that tore through the evil prison, carrying a destructive force that tore into the dark earth beneath. Swoosh swoosh. The two energies, one pure as water, the other sacred and scorching, slammed into the prison's soil, sending a deafening hum through the air. Screams of agony echoed as the impact tore open a massive whirlpool in the earth, thousands of feet deep. The whirlpool spun slowly, resembling a black hole that devoured everything in its path. Inside it, the glass-colored flames and the pure white energy continued to spiral, and as time passed, Xiao Yan's sacred and searing glass flames gradually faded. It seemed that the sacred flame's power was being slowly assimilated by the force of the pure heart. Such terrifying sacred flame. The pale-skinned woman, watching Xiao Yan from below, had a look of surprise in her eyes, as if she had never seen such a sacred flame before. This guy's pure heart is no small matter. Xiao Yan's gaze flickered as he locked his eyes on her. With your quasi-reincarnation power, you've barged into the evil prison. You truly are the most foolish sacred flame master I've ever seen. But this time, I will extinguish your sacred flame on behalf of the extraterritorial evil clan. The white-clad evil woman slowly straightened up, her clear eyes suddenly flashing with countless white rays, flooding the area with overwhelming suppressive force. Pure evil finger. The white-clad woman hissed through gritted teeth, pointing a finger forward. The white light that radiated from her body slipped past the 10-finger Buddhist prison's constraints and shot out like a beam. Crack, crack. As the white light shot out, the entire evil prison trembled with an outpouring of evil energy. Xiao Yan's heart tightened. Bai Wuxiang pointed a finger through the air, and instantly, the energy within the evil prison began to rapidly converge. A white, heart-like seed of light appeared under a beam of radiance, slowly flickering to life. Within the white seed, there was a gleaming white rune, which looked eerily strange. The power contained within it actually made the sacred flame's power stir with genuine emotion. Reincarnation. Seeing this, Xiaoyan slowly began to rotate the glass-colored flames within him, summoning a blazing wheel of fire to manifest. Pu-chi. Upon impact, there was no terrifying explosion, but instead, Xiao Yan's glass-colored flames trembled and retreated slightly under the assault of the white heart. The countless sacred flames within it grew weaker. Indeed, the pure heart lives up to its name. Frowning, Xiao Yan dared not unleash the full force of the sacred flame. Other powers from his body emerged as he slowly directed them toward the other side. Leave this place completely. The white, pure power howled away. Bai Wuxiang's face twisted with violent rage. With a single step, invisible power spread out, causing the 10 Buddhist pillars to vibrate with a low hum, as if they might shatter completely at any moment. As her voice fell, blobs of milky white liquid began to pour from the prison cells within the evil prison. The entire space fell into silence. Countless weak evil shadows did not make a sound, utterly destroyed by this force. Even Xiao Yan's glass-colored flames emanated a deep chill, and countless flames were forcibly pushed back by this power. Dragon God Claw. The glass-colored flames instantly gathered back into Xiao Yan's body. Endless blue dragon scales, accompanied by an overwhelmingly powerful force, collided head-on with the milky white energy. Boom! This time, when the two forces collided, the entire evil prison trembled violently, as if it could shatter completely at any moment. A terrifying energy storm erupted, wind howling, the void twisting, and the entire space was thrown into chaos. Amidst the deafening, terrifying fluctuations, those evil creatures within the evil prison, who had considerable strength, found their breaths becoming faint, their bodies fleeing rapidly, seemingly in great fear. The power within the milky white pure force was a natural counter to the sacred flame. However, Xiao Yan did not expect that this force would not only suppress the sacred flame, but also keep these evil creatures completely suppressed. In that moment, the entire space was deathly silent. Boom! The Dragon God Claw's power failed to tear through the milky white pure force, but after a brief clash, both forces gradually settled down. Within the evil prison, black vortexes raged. As the power of the pure heart spread, every time it swept over an evil creature, they were immediately pierced through, their life force utterly consumed. Even some evil creatures with power comparable to the reincarnation stage had no resistance, turning into halves as their pained wails echoed. Some of the weaker evil creatures were instantly transformed into blood mist and vanquished under the power of the pure force. Cunning bastard! Seeing the heavy aura within Xiao Yan's blue dragon scales, Bai Wuxiang's beautiful eyes flickered. A surge of extreme anger radiated from her, and there seemed to be a faint sign of her shattering the 10-finger Buddhist prison. You and I are both human. Why help these vile creatures? Xiao Yan shook his head. The power of Baxia emerged from within him, and a serene yet overwhelming aura of the annihilation of all things circled around his fists. He looked up and said to Bai Wuxiang, "This person was a formidable foe. Without the Eternal Ruler's sacred inscription, there was no guarantee of victory. Xiao Yan could not act rashly and would need to rely on his wits." Human? You dare talk to me about being human? Hearing Xiao Yan's calm words, Bai Wuxiang's previously mildly angry expression suddenly turned vicious. Her face showed contempt, as if she had heard the greatest joke in the world, her ferocious face staring at Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan stood quietly in mid-air within the evil prison. Judging by her appearance, he sensed that something deeper was at play. I was born on a barren continent in the human realm, from a family that had fallen from grace. From the moment I was born, I was oppressed. Even my sister, in an effort to protect me, was humiliated and died. From that moment on, I swore to make those beasts pay for their blood debt. By a twist of fate, I was helped by an extraterritorial evil god, who taught me the pure heart, and with it, I was able to take my revenge. At first, I never cared about the distinction between good and evil. I believed that everything in this world followed its own fate. But where is the Tao of heaven? Some people are born standing at the peak. But why must we be born into suffering and oppression? Those people deserve to die 1,000 deaths. You dare speak to me about being human? When I was tormented and oppressed, where were humans to help me? The evil god helped me. Bai Wuxiang grew increasingly agitated as she spoke. The heart on her chest, pure and untainted, throbbed violently, each beat sending waves of unease through Xiao Yan's sacred flame. That power was something that even heaven and earth could witness. The pure heart was an item potent enough to suppress and seal the power of the sacred flame. Though Bai Wuxiang's pure heart was not yet strong enough to fully subdue what Xiao Yan carried, he dared not make any attempts. After all, such matters were no laughing matter. Let it all end. Today's battle is one of life or death. As she spoke, Bai Wuxiang slowly raised her pristine hands, pulling the pure heart with her, and an endless wave of purifying light spread like an energy tide. Something's wrong, the aura in this person's body. Though Xiao Yan's eyelids twitched, his sharp soul energy sensed a terrifying force beneath Bai Wuxiang's now monstrous appearance. It was a force so horrifying that it made even the soul tremble. Bai Wuxiang, calm down. The so-called evil god is only using you. Look at your body, it's already rotting away. Once you release the pure heart, you will perish, body and soul. Ultimately, you are just a pawn of the extraterritorial evil clan. Xiao Yan did not resist in the slightest. His pupils narrowed, and his soul power condensed into a booming voice, shouting out, "Sis!" As Bai Wuxiang activated the pure heart, black veins like creeping worms began to emerge beneath her skin. They spread all over her pristine body, giving her an aura of sickness and weakness. How is this possible? For a moment, Bai Wuxiang's body trembled from Xiao Yan's voice filled with soul power, regaining some clarity. Her face contorted with pain as she felt the dark worms crawling over her skin, shocked and horrified. Your body has already been infested with countless evil runes. Once you use the pure heart, you will completely fall and cease to exist in this world. The so-called evil god is just using you to create the pure heart. And based on my guesses, your family's destruction was also orchestrated by the extraterritorial evil clan. Think carefully. Xiao Yan's eyes remained fixed on the dark worms. A chilling aura emanated from him as he continued to explain to Bai Wuxiang. Thump, thump. As Xiao Yan's words fell, Bai Wuxiang clearly noticed that the pure heart on her chest had already reached the point of being a drawn bow, ready to release its arrow. The dark worms on her body greedily eyed her. Once the pure heart left her body, they would not hesitate to devour her entire being. Listening to Xiao Yan's words, Bai Wuxiang's mind flashed back to past events. After a moment's reflection, she began to believe that the destruction of her family was likely a scheme by the evil god, designed to provoke her hatred for humanity, allowing the seed of vengeance within her to grow. The evil god's goal was to use her as a pawn after she cultivated the pure heart. Otherwise, why would the evil god target her? Why would the evil god pass on techniques to her? Everything seemed too coincidental. Don't move. I will use the sacred flame to expel the evil runes in your body. This way, there's still a chance for survival. After a moment of silence, Xiao Yan spoke in a low voice. Fiery, glass-like flames emerged from his body as he sent them flying toward the 10-finger Buddha prison. Why are you helping me? I carry the pure heart. I can seal and suppress your sacred flame. Aren't you afraid I will retaliate when I die? Bai Wuxiang looked at Xiao Yan in shock. She was already a dead woman, yet this man treated her this way. It was as if she saw something long lost in him. Bravery. responsibility, and fearlessness. Afraid. But it's precisely because I fear it that I must do this. I can't stop this from happening to you, but in the future, I will protect this great thousand world. Boom. As Xiaoyan spoke, the dragon god claw was unleashed, tearing the 10-finger Buddha pillars apart, creating cracks. At the same time, the glass-colored sacred flame transformed into the image of a moose and flew towards Bai Wuxiang. The gentle power made her eyes water. Perhaps this is the great thousand world I wanted to see. Feeling Xiaoyan's serious expression so close, Bai Wuxiang's beautiful face suddenly broke into a brilliant smile. Wung wung. The pure heart rose, and in the blink of an eye, it forced Xiaoyan's body back by thousands of meters. The energy inside the evil prison surged violently, with countless evil forces rushing toward the pure heart. Once the pure heart disappeared, Bai Wuxiang's body and soul would be consumed by these evil beings. I've done many wrong things. Bai Wuxiang smiled softly. Her delicate jade-like hand reached out and gently crushed the pure heart. A wave of purifying, all-encompassing energy emerged from it. In an instant, the evil creature forces, which had been lurking near Bai Wuxiang, fled in a panic, desperately escaping. Unfortunately, it was already too late. What awaited them was inevitable annihilation. The pure heart was a creation developed by the extraterritorial evil clan to counteract the sacred flame. It was formed through a special power cultivated by human women, though how these women were chosen and how the pure heart was formed remained a closely guarded secret of the extraterritorial evil clan. Even in the Great Thousand Worlds, few knew of it. Boom, boom, boom. Bai Wuxiang had already resigned herself to death. The pure heart exploded, its pure energy carelessly crashing into the countless evil forces within the evil prison. From the looks of it, she intended to use her final strength to purify this prison. The evil figures, led by several beings at the reincarnation stage within the evil prison, witnessed the pure heart's attack. To their shock, the target was not Xiaoyan, but rather this filthy and corrupt evil prison. In the midst of the black fog, an unusual fear surfaced. The power of the pure heart not only had a devastating effect on the sacred flame but also on them. This was the purest of forces, and no evil power could resist it. Bang, bang, bang. The pure heart exploded, and countless black mists shattered. The endless waves of evil creatures were easily destroyed under this pure force, vanishing completely, their very souls wiped out. None could escape. Senior, your righteousness. A tragic wail spread through the air. Xiaoyan's pupils flickered with intense heat as he cupped his hands and spoke respectfully. This was something Xiaoyan could not stop. He could only respectfully stand by, silently waiting for these events to unfold. I understand your goodwill, but the old has passed, and my existence in this world no longer holds meaning. Having completed her task, purifying the evil prison, Bai Wuxiang's body began to disintegrate. She had clearly sensed Xiaoyan's attempt to save her and directly rejected it. She had become a sinner in the Great Thousand Worlds. Even if she continued to live, she would be nothing more than a joke. It was better to expend all her strength and leave something behind for the future as a form of atonement. I've made too many mistakes in my life. At the final moments, I hope I can make up for a little bit. This is my record of the pure heart. It contains some insights into reincarnation, and perhaps it could help you now. As her words ended, Bai Wuxiang's delicate body trembled, then soared into the sky, exploding like fireworks. Farewell, Senior. Xiaoyan reached out to catch the pure light sphere, then bowed slightly in respect to the departing figure. This grand gesture from Bai Wuxiang could not be underestimated. The secrets of the pure heart and the insights into reincarnation were supreme matters that could stir the entire Great Thousand Worlds. Whoosh, whoosh. With Bai Wuxiang's noble sacrifice, all the evil forces within the evil prison disappeared completely, revealing the true nature of the surrounding void. Xiaoyan hovered high in the air. As he looked down, he saw sprawling cities stretching in every direction, clearly a once prosperous place, now destroyed by the invasion of the extraterritorial evil clan. At the center of the city stood a magnificent and imposing mansion. It seemed likely that this was where treasures like meteoric star iron were stored. But for now, Xiaoyan wasn't in a hurry. Second brother? Are you all right? Little E, who had been in the Buddhist scripture passage, sensed the strange disappearance of the evil forces in the void. She stepped out of the barrier and hurried over, only to find that the evil forces had vanished completely, and the pure light sphere in Xiaoyan's hands shone brightly. It's fine now. Everything here has been dealt with. The rest will have to wait until I wake up. Let me step into reincarnation. Xiaoyan nodded heavily, then sat cross-legged in the void, beginning to channel his spiritual power to explore the secrets of the pure light sphere. The pure heart is cultivated from a woman with the Yin body from the great thousand worlds. The woman must be pure, born during the Yin phase of the year. This, combined with the evil pattern power of the extraterritorial evil clan, takes hundreds of years to nurture a pure heart. The pure heart grows alongside its nurturer, greatly enhancing its power. It can be taken out, but its power is greatly reduced. Now, according to the records of the extraterritorial evil clan, they have cultivated pure hearts capable of resisting the top 5 beings in the sacred flame ranking of the great thousand worlds. In the midst of the sphere of light, endless explanations about the sacred flame's restraint and the pure heart echoed relentlessly. Xiaoyan's spiritual power surged as he carefully absorbed the immense information, firmly embedding it in his mind. It seems like second brother is in seclusion, Little E murmured. Well, I hope second brother can use this opportunity to step into reincarnation. Little E's brown flames surged around her, instantly enveloping the surrounding space, protecting Xiaoyan. She herself fell into a deep, mysterious meditation to safeguard him. Reincarnation, profound beyond measure. After sensing the pure heart, the luminous sphere slowly merged with Xiaoyan's body. A radiant aura entered him, accompanied by a deep, bone-chilling pain. As this strange scene unfolded, Xiaoyan's consciousness suddenly transcended the limits of time and space, entering an enigmatic state. In the dark void, wails and roars echoed ceaselessly. However, no one responded to the immense sound, and the source of the noise, its consciousness gradually fading, was on the verge of fainting. Just before losing consciousness, vivid images began to appear before him. Reincarnation, first life. Xiaoyan of the Xiao family, breaking off his engagement with Nailin Yanran, 30 years of prosperity followed by 3 years of adversity. Don't look down on the young and poor. Master, I have avenged you. In his first life, Xiaoyan, his strength drained, lay weakly in the darkness, watching the thin shadow in the images. To preserve his family's honor, he had started from nothing, overcoming countless hardships, gradually surpassing and defeating the heavenly beauty of the Yunlan sect. Reincarnation, second life. A vast, azure dimension. Now, Xiaoyan had forgotten his true name, but his instincts told him that his previous life must have come from here. In this azure dimension, there were countless scenes of prosperity and power, but they were far removed from him. Reincarnation, third life. In this life, Xiaoyan was an ordinary person, without the excellence and glory of his previous lives. He was framed and tragically died in a foreign land. Cycle after cycle of reincarnation. What seemed simple was only clear to Xiaoyan himself. It was not just a simple reincarnation, but an experience he had lived through. Glory, power, wealth, beauty, falling, scheming, the 7 emotions and 6 desires of the human world. Greed, anger, ignorance, hatred, struck like shackles, battering Xiaoyan's fragile body. The images blurred again, and he fell back into darkness, as if returning to the primordial chaos. At the same time, some ancient power within him surged forth. Was it rebirth or annihilation? Even after breaking through countless reincarnations in this life, I only wish to protect the ones I cherish in this not-so-beautiful great thousand world. A lingering voice echoed through the air, and instantly, a mysterious power gathered from all directions, converging toward Xiaoyan's body. In the evil prison, as Xiaoyan took this action, the world was filled with an ancient, vast fluctuation. The power was like the force of reincarnation, scattered since the dawn of time, now gathering under Xiao Yan's control, slowly entering his body, a mystery beyond comprehension. At this moment, Xiao Yan's body was surrounded by flickering glass-like flames, and dense, powerful energy built up inside him, like a volcano ready to erupt at any moment. This state had lasted for more than a month. During this time, Xiao Yan had been relying on the power left behind by Wushuang, closing his eyes to comprehend reincarnation without any physical movement. However, the power within him had undergone earth-shattering changes. The pure heart was indeed the nemesis of the sacred flame, but as the master of the sacred flame, Xiao Yan could not control it. The two forces were in constant conflict. To force control would only lead to self-destruction. Bai Wushuang understood this, which is why she had given Xiao Yan this opportunity. Green-maned Buddhist lion. What's going on with second brother? In the quiet, evil prison space, Little Yi frowned as she observed Xiao Yan sitting cross-legged in the void. At this moment, Xiao Yan was surrounded by an extremely subtle aura. Little Yi was completely puzzled, and after a month of trying, she still couldn't figure it out. She didn't dare disturb Xiao Yan. If he went astray and fell into madness, it would be a real problem. I don't know. But the power surging through this world is somewhat strange. During the past month, the green-maned Buddhist lion had been concerned about the safety of the two and thus descended here to investigate. However, upon seeing that all the evil creatures in this demon-suppressing prison had vanished without a trace, it was left utterly astonished. Even more surprising was Xiao Yan's current state, which was nothing short of bewildering. Now, both Little Yi and the green-maned Buddhist lion had become quite friendly, waiting here together. Since the demon-suppressing prison had been completely lifted, once Xiao Yan received the 3 treasures he needed, they could finally leave this place. Boom! At that moment, as the two were still puzzled, the profound energies in the entire space suddenly converged toward Xiao Yan. Around him, layers of glazed reincarnation patterns appeared, resembling tree rings in their depth. However, the power contained within these patterns felt as ancient as the world itself. Such terrifying power of reincarnation. What's going on here? The green-maned Buddhist lion wore a serious expression. This level of reincarnation power was far beyond ordinary reincarnation, and the terrifying energy within it even sent a tingling sensation to its scalp. Whoosh! Whoosh! Xiao Yan's strange condition didn't last long. Suddenly, the power within his body contracted, and his eyes grew deep as he smiled faintly. Heh, green-maned Buddhist lion, I didn't fail you, he chuckled. And as the bright laugh echoed, the previously statue-like Xiao Yan suddenly opened his eyes, stood up, and walked toward the green-maned Buddhist lion. Beneath his thin frame lay a terrifying, overwhelming power. What's going on here? And your power? The green-maned Buddhist lion's voice was filled with curiosity, as if Xiao Yan's strength and potential were a mystery it couldn't fully comprehend. Thanks to the gift from the senior here, my current strength, to be precise, is almost enough to transcend a reincarnation tribulation. It's a pity. Xiao Yan gave a mysterious smile, his tone carrying a hint of regret. Peak of the reincarnation stage? You actually went from being at the pre-reincarnation stage straight to the pinnacle of reincarnation? After Xiao Yan finished speaking, the green-maned Buddhist lion and Little Yi exchanged a glance, both of them gasping in surprise. Before, I hadn't comprehended reincarnation, so the holy flame power that remained in my body accumulated. Now that I've grasped reincarnation, all that power was released and fully refined by me, helping me break through to the pinnacle of the reincarnation stage. Xiao Yan scratched his head with a smile, his voice carrying a faint sense of satisfaction. The reincarnation stage was an influential realm in the Great Thousand Worlds. Countless strong individuals spent their entire lives stuck between the perfect 8-star Do Xian and pre-reincarnation stages, so stepping beyond that threshold was no small feat. As for Xiao Yan's reincarnation, he had already transcended several lifetimes and found his own path of reincarnation. However, Xiao Yan knew that if his will had not been strong enough, he would have long been drowned in the currents of darkness. The kind of power in that force could have easily shattered him to pieces. "You two are truly monstrous," the green-maned Buddhist lion muttered, shaking its head in disbelief. Even it couldn't help but marvel at Xiao Yin and Little Yi's strength and talent. "Senior, you flatter us. By the way, since things are over, we should—" Xiao Yin shook his head and then turned to speak directly to the green-maned Buddhist lion. Time was pressing, so they couldn't afford to waste any more. "According to my records, meteoric star iron does exist, but its location is so ancient that I can't remember. Moreover, this area was once invaded by evil forces, so I'm not entirely sure. Go down and take a look. While you're at it, you can pick up the other 2 treasures as well. They should be in the Manjushri hall below." The green-maned Buddhist lion nodded slightly, pointing to a path for Xiao Yin and Little Yi, though it made no move itself. Thud. The moment it finished speaking, the green-maned Buddhist lion roared, and a bolt of lightning shot from the corner of its mouth, shining as bright as the moon. The light grew increasingly intense and finally converged into an ancient glowing key, gently merging into the gate of the ancient palace below. In the midst of many cities below, there was an ancient palace located in the central wilderness. At the moment the green-maned Buddhist lion made this gesture, the entire palace trembled slightly, and waves of energy ripples spread outward. "Let's go." Seeing this, Xiao Yin and Little Yi's expressions grew eager. They quickly proceeded down the path, one after the other. The 3 treasures they needed, neither of them intended to take more. After all, trying to deceive this green-maned Buddhist lion was no easy task. Creak. With the green-maned Buddhist lion's actions, the ancient palace below, sealed for countless reincarnations, slowly cracked open, and an ancient aura accompanied by the sound of chanting surged out. The very sound of that chant made one's mind drift, and their internal chaos calmed down. It was clear that this sound and power were far from ordinary. The 2 of them arrived in front of the ancient palace, staring at the faint cracks that appeared. After exchanging a glance, Xiao Yin extended his hand, and the power of reincarnation emerged, gently spreading out. As Xiao Yin made this move, the ancient stone door of the Manjushri hall emitted a peculiar green glow, and the traces of it opening gradually became visible. When the flower blooms and bears fruit, can the meteoric star iron used to repair the eternal rulers still be found? Boom! The stone door of the Manjushri hall opened, and an ancient, barbaric force from primordial times surged forth. The 2 of them stood stunned outside the door, vaguely able to make out some of the items within the hall. To prevent any unexpected changes upon entering, the 2 did not rashly step inside. They stood at the entrance, observing the hall, and faintly noticed that the layout inside was very orderly. In the center was a golden plaque with the words Manjushri Bodhisattva written in shining gold, surrounded by numerous Buddha statues, high platforms, and columns. Aside from this, there was nothing else, but in the very center, a pitch-black object obstructed their retreat. "Second brother, what a treasure!" The Bodhi Pearl, a legendary artifact of Ancestor Bodhi, is said to be capable of destroying all evil forces. The Zen sound wooden fish. Little Yi's eyes sparkled. Even though they hadn't stepped into the hall yet, just by glancing through the door, they could see the many expensive items arranged inside. These items were treasures used by enlightened beings of the Buddhist world, blessed with Buddhist power, making them even more potent than celestial artifacts. These items may be valuable, but they're not suitable for us. And such precious items, I don't believe they would just give them away so easily. Xiao Yin shook his head and took a step forward, entering the Manjushri hall. He headed straight toward the central platform, sensing that aside from the scattered items on the periphery, something even more valuable might lie at the center. Though these items were precious, they were arranged in a disorderly fashion, and Xiao Yin felt that some of them had been carelessly tossed about. The true treasure was in the center of the Manjushri hall. Grumble. This is the so-called meteoric star iron? When the 2 reached the center of the hall, a shadowy stone block of dark greenish-black blocked their path and their view. After careful inspection, Xiao Yin believed this was the meteoric star iron he had been searching for. It was about 20 meters long and 50 meters high, appearing extremely imposing. The meteorite was covered with black lines that were incredibly tough. Even Xiao Yan's glazed fire couldn't leave a mark on it. So, Xiao Yan was certain. This was the meteoric star iron. This piece of meteoric star iron is massive, isn't it? Little E looked at the enormous piece of star iron with disbelief. Don't think too much about it. Though this meteoric star iron is huge, what truly matters is its core. Only by refining this star iron into its purest essence can it be used to forge or repair divine weapons. Though it looks this large, after refining, its size will shrink many times. Xiao Yan explained. Hee. Little E scratched his head, embarrassed that her thoughts were proven wrong. Let's move this aside first, then search for the remaining 2 treasures. Hopefully, we can find something suitable for both of us, and I suspect this star iron didn't just appear here by chance. There might be even more valuable treasures hidden behind it. Xiao Yan's gaze swept around the hall. His soul force couldn't penetrate the star iron, nor could he move beyond it to look further. All right. Wait, something's not right. This meteoric star iron seems to be absorbing the power within my body. More precisely, it's absorbing the power of my brown sacred flame. Little E, upon approaching the meteoric star iron, raised her hands and pressed them against it. Immediately, she was startled. The closer she got, the more terrifying the force of absorption became. What was most bizarre was that she couldn't resist this strange force. The iron stone simply sucked her power away. If this continued, even her reincarnation stage strength would be completely drained by this meteoric star iron. Flame mantra. Xiao Yan, seeing Little Yi's astonishment, activated his flame mantra. The terrifying power of the glazed fire surged forth, but as soon as it touched the stone, it suddenly disappeared, as if it was absorbed and devoured by the stone. Devoured? Master Liaoqing didn't mention the effects of this stone. Looks like it's a test for us. Xiao Yan nodded, quickly contemplating his options. Try other powers. Wood element. With a thought, Xiao Yan's body began to exude powerful wood elemental energy, wrapping around the meteoric star iron, covering it inside and out. Nothing happened? Seeing this, Little E couldn't help but click her tongue. Xiao Yan exerted all his strength but still couldn't move an inch. Eventually, he had no choice but to unleash all of his dragon transformation and other powers. Only then did he manage, with great effort, to shift the iron stone's position. However, what Xiao Yan didn't realize was that the main reason he could move the stone was due to the help of the Buddhist world divine art he obtained from the demon realm. Second brother, this place? Without the obstruction of the meteoric star iron, the true appearance of the central hall was finally revealed. However, as soon as Little E looked up, he was struck by a feeling of intense attraction emanating from something atop the slightly raised platform. His eyes were filled with astonishment, a look of disbelief mixed with a burning intensity. What came into view was a high, raised circular platform. Buddhist scriptures were scattered across the platform, exuding an aura of sacredness and solemnity. Several Arhat Buddha statues were arranged around it, forming an incredibly intricate formation. Upon closer inspection, there were a total of 18 Arhat Buddha statues. Looking up, Xiao Yan and Little E appeared as insignificant as ants, dwarfed by the overwhelming sense of oppression radiating from the circular platform. The majestic sound of Buddhist chanting resonated, shaking both of them to their core. On the circular platform, surrounded by the 18 Arhat statues, stood a golden tree, carved from some kind of golden material, towering 10 meters high. 2 Buddha statues sat quietly beside it. Their expressions were serene, but their aura and presence were unmistakable. Manjushri Bodhisattva? Ancestor Bodhi? Xiao Yan exclaimed in surprise, stopping Little E from advancing. He did not dare to step onto the circular Buddha platform, sensing a chilling aura from the 2 figures. Second brother, that golden tree seems to be related to the legendary holy tree of the Buddhist world. Bodhi, ancient tree? Little Yi's pupils constricted slightly, and his face turned pale with disbelief. The Bodhi ancient tree was a symbol of the enlightened monk, ancestor Bodhi, from the Buddhist world. How could it appear here? Could it be that Manjushri Bodhisattva and ancestor Bodhi were somehow connected? But their power was far beyond what they could contend with. Was it really possible to just give up so easily? Countless questions clouded Little Yi's mind. The Bodhi ancient tree. Why does it emanate such a lush green energy? At Little Yi's prompting, Xiao Yin focused his attention on the Bodhi ancient tree. Soon, a tremendous wave of soul energy, like a gushing spring, surged forth as he attempted to probe the tree. Crack! Even with Xiao Yan's current level of soul power, as he approached the Bodhi ancient tree, wisps of black smoke suddenly began to spread out from the tree. The soul energy he released was instantly obliterated. Second brother? Little Yi's eyes narrowed slightly. He gritted his teeth and immediately moved in front of Xiao Yin, ready to protect him. Good heavens! It's actually Earth's cradle. In that moment, Xiao Yan's expression turned ecstatic as he locked his gaze firmly on the golden ancient tree. A faint green shackle slowly materialized on the Bodhi ancient tree. It was engraved with countless life runes, and under this power, it felt as though all things had fallen into a deep, serene silence. Wasn't this energy fluctuation exactly what he had been desperately searching for? The Earth's cradle?